There are very few words in the English language that carry as much weight as the word home. It speaks to the very cravings of our soul: love, security, belonging, identity. It's why from the very beginning in God's pursuit of us, it's been about finding our home, being rooted in, experiencing home with Him. Even as God steps into Abraham's story, He speaks to him about home, which at first, that home seems to be about somewhere. But by the end of the story, you realize it's actually always been about someone. In the end, yes, Abraham's in a new place, but the reality is Abraham would have been home no matter where he was, because he'd found a much more significant home. He'd found his home in God. From the beginning, that's been our mission here at Hoboken Grace, to help people find their way back to find their home in God. But we've sought that not only for ourselves, we've sought that for the community that we've been sent to. Jesus, as He's speaking with His followers, does something really interesting with this picture of home, this picture of a tree rooted in Him. He builds on it. Listen to how he does this. It says, "Then Jesus said, 'What is the kingdom of God like? How can I illustrate it? It's like a tiny mustard seed that a man planted in a garden. It grows and becomes a tree.'" Again, the picture of a tree. But He builds on it and He says, "And the birds make nests in its branches." He says, not only does our faith allow us to find home, but it creates home for others. The birds make nests in its branches. What a profound picture. And it's a picture, really, of our story. Not only have we found our home in Him, but our experience of His love, our belonging to His family, our identity in Him allows us over and over again to create home for others. And what we've seen God do in our lives and in this city over the past 12 years is unimaginable. We could spend hours sharing the stories of what He's made possible, as what started with a group of 5 has now exploded into thousands who are pursuing God together. But as we've continued to grow, we've encountered a problem. In many ways, those branches are full. For years, we've sought to expand here in this space as much as humanly possible. We've moved our kids' space from the 2nd to the 4th floor, allowing us to love twice as many kids. We've added screens to make it possible to utilize every inch of our space. We've added services. We've worked to create connection space, but there simply isn't any more room. The branches, in many ways, are full. On our most significant Sundays, we experience the least connection. We can offer group settings with childcare only a few special weeks every year. We're approached over and over about using our space for weddings, using our space for community events. And rather than being able to seize those opportunities, we're forced to decline. We dream of impacting the teens of our community. But again, we find ourselves restricted. In the next 2 years, we have over 50 4th and 5th graders who will transition out of Grace Kids. How are we going to love them? We made a commitment to them. They need to know home. Their friends need to be able to find home. The branches need to extend, which is why we believe it's time for Hoboken Grace to further root itself, not only in Him, but also in our community. It's time for us to have a space from which we can love this community, not simply on Sundays, but all week long. 12 years ago, when Anna and I moved to Hoboken, we made a 20-year commitment to this city. We believe God was calling us to impact this place, not temporarily, but significantly. We had no idea the impact that commitment would make. What we learned was that in a place that's so transient, there's something remarkably powerful about something that's rooted. There's something powerful about that which is permanent. It's time for us to further communicate to our city that we're here to stay. We want to establish a tool, a space from which we can impact the community in ways we've only dreamed of. We want this to be the primary place where community events happen. We want to see school graduations in this space. We want to see weddings and receptions in our space. We want to see Chamber of Commerce meetings. We want to see birthday parties. We want to celebrate our community service providers. When someone shows up on a Sunday morning, we want for them to know where the restrooms are, not because of our signage, but because they've been there for a concert or a leadership development seminar. They know the space. It's not just our space, it's their space. We aren't pursuing a church building. We're pursuing a community center in which we gather. The church, after all, has never been and never will be a building. This journey, however, just as Abraham's journey was, will not simply be about somewhere. It will be about someone. In order to create home for more, we have to further establish our home in Him, which is why our primary goal on this journey is 100% engagement. We want to sink our roots down into Him. We want to make certain that He is the priority, the center, the focus of our lives. We want to experience our home in Him like never before. We don't just want a few of us to do this. We want all of us, every one of us, to live this. Before God does something through us, He always seeks to do something in us. We want to invite Him to do just that. As we sink our roots further into His love, we also want to expand the branches. It's our goal over the course of the next 2 years to expand our generosity from our current level of 6 million to 12 million. This will allow us to continue impacting our city as we have been, because 6 million of our goal will go towards our ongoing impact. This is our current giving. 5 million of our goal will go toward the establishment of the center, and 1 million of our goal will go specifically toward community and global impact, taking our impact now to a whole new level. We aren't going to love better in the future. We're going to love better now. I want to invite you into this journey with us. But the journey doesn't begin with our giving. It begins with our heart. It begins with prayerfully asking God to take us to a whole new level of relationship with Him. It begins with strengthening our faith so that the branches can extend. It begins with remembering the one who made it possible for us to know home, the one who led us home. May our roots grow down into Him like never before. May we find our home in Him, and as a result, may our community find the home they've always longed for, in the arms of the one who loves them most.